Hey, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, welcome back to another video for Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and today I want to talk about the roadmap because today of course is Monster Hunter Festa, or earlier this morning. It's the UK for me, so of course it was in the wee hours of the morning, but earlier on, a few hours ago, of course Capcom had their Festa, and of course as part of that they have the tournament. But during that, they also spoke about the 2020 roadmap to give us an idea as to what we can expect in Iceborne later on this year. And there's lots of cool stuff to look forward to. I mean, they did say, of course, as mentioned in the previous ones, that they are still planning to do like a full year of support, much like they did with Worlds. We've still got plenty of stuff to look forward to. And most excitingly, there is eventually a point where PC and consoles are gonna catch up, they're gonna sync, and will actually be together, which is really cool, right? I mean, that's something we've wanted for like the longest time. If you look back to Monster Hunter World, of course, PC was perpetually behind, and while right now, yes, PC is still behind, there is a time in the not too distant future where everybody will be together. Unfortunately, still no cross-save or anything like that, but at least we'll be able to enjoy events at the same time. So in this video, I want to talk about what that roadmap is, because there's a few very exciting things to talk about, plus there's a couple of additional funny things I want to add in. Firstly, before we even get started, allow me to show you something that will make you never look at Rajang the same way. This is the live action, the Mocap recording for, you know, that iconic Rajang versus Kirin battle where Rajang is such a badass and he just snaps off Kirin's horn? Well, now you can see that Kirin is basically this amalgamation of like wooden foam with like a plastic bottle on the end, and Rajang is this dude jumping around, and I think it's hilarious. It's actually fantastic, and I kind of wish we could watch these in game because that would be really cool. Anyway, that aside, that was like a little sort of funny thing to kind of just peel back the curtain. But let's talk about this roadmap because it is incredibly exciting. Now, they released this image that you can see on screen, and this basically breaks down January until June. It's kind of giving us sort of specifics from January till May, and then June and later is a little bit vague. Of course, June tends to coincide with E3, so maybe they're keeping things like a little bit loose because they might want to do some like announcements at E3. Either way, at least from January till May, we have things to talk about. So let's start with this month, right? The immediate future, January the 24th, which is next Friday, is the start of the Celiana and Astera Grand Appreciation Fest. That's of course 2-year anniversary for Monster Hunter World, and that is where we get that cool, fancy, ethereal space-looking armor, which I cannot wait to have. That looks really, really cool. You can of course see the picture on screen right now. Plus, for those of you guys that might have been asking or have been asking, when the festival dropped at the end of last year, some people were like, where's that red hammer? Where's that meat hammer? Where's those kind of other additional weapons? They are quests that will appear in this festival. So, most notably, the chicken drumstick and the red hammer, as well as the Palico kind of opera outfit, and also that traditional Palico outfit, they will be quests that will be part of this festival. Now, obviously in traditional festival manner, all the quests tend to return, so if there's anything you missed from, say, Christmas, you didn't get the buff body armor, you didn't get, say, the ninja scarf or anything like that, and I'd like to think that probably safi'jiiva will also return in that time window, because again, it's normally one of those kind of things that gets added back in at the same time. So either way, it'll be a chance to basically do any and all of the quests you may have missed, but there will also be some of those new ones that will be there. Now, also for those of you guys that have been asking, you know, when can I upgrade, say, the Dante weapon? When can I upgrade some of those other items? Because of course they're shown in the skill tree, but you haven't got the parts yet. We still don't know the exact answer to that, but often when you have these new events, there are kind of additional parts that coincide with those. So it may well be possible, to be clear, they haven't clarified this, but it may well be that those parts show up during this festival or later on in the year. Either way, once we find out, I'll let you guys know. So that's January. January the 24th until February the 13th. That is your window for that new festival. So that's a good few weeks to kind of enjoy that and kind of jump in, do that quest, all that good stuff. So you can expect plenty of videos next week when we kind of take a look at those new items. Then if we turn our attention to February, we basically got a kind of like a little sort of pause in like the big events. And there's just kind of like a few different events that are gonna be dropping in to kind of get people caught up. So we've of course got like a high encounter rate for Gold Crown monsters. So for those of you guys that wanna sort of try and tick that off in your achievement or your trophy list, then of course you can use that to your advantage. There'll be an increased decoration reward drop rate. There will be great Spirit Vein gem rewards, and there'll also be higher master rank point gain. So February is basically your sort of like, let's get caught up time window. Also, to be clear, at the moment, as you can see sort of from the image here, this is specifically kind of console related. In a minute, I'm gonna kind of group this all together so you can get an understanding as to like how this works for PC as well. But for the time being, just gonna kind of sort of go through the top level stuff so we know loosely what to expect. If we then turn our attention to March, this is where we get the next major title update, 13.0, and this is where we're going to get 2 new variant monsters. Now, again, to be very clear, of course, depending on how long you've been playing Monster Hunter, you may well be very familiar with the variant term, but it's important to note that if you're new to the series, variant and subspecies are 2 very different terms. Variants tend to be a lot more notable in their changes. Examples of those would be things like Ruina no Gigante, Seething Basilgeuse, Savage Devil Joe, Shrieking Legiana, that kind of thing, versus something like Koro Puke Puke, Viper Tobikadachi, those are subspecies. Now, the reason this is important is because if we look at potentially sort of, variant monsters we have yet to return, the kind of attention points most notably to either Rustic Kushala or Raging Brachydios. You also have Furious Rajang, but I mentioned this in my video over Christmas that as much as I would love to see it, like Furious Rajang is one of my favorite monsters. Much as I would love to see that, I honestly don't think we get that this soon, given that Rajang has only just been added to Iceborne. The idea, while again, some of us may enjoy it, the idea of another Rajang already so soon after the first one, I think a lot of people might just be like, why are you using the same monster kind of thing? Even though it wouldn't be the same, like Furious Rajang is a very different fight. It's incredible, I love it, but I just feel like the proximity of 2 Rajangs so close to each other, while it would be like easier from a development point of view, I don't think it's necessarily going to make too much sense. So honestly, if I had to hazard a guess, I would say Raging Brachy. I think that one's like a high possibility just because Brachydios in its current form doesn't really get that much attention. It's kind of like a mid-tier monster. You don't do much with it. Sure, it's got like the agitator skills and the armor and stuff, and there's some, there's some value in the armor, but generally speaking, you don't really fight it that much at the moment, right? And of course, it would also kind of maybe give them an opportunity to like bring the Brachydios weapons back into like a cool light and maybe fix those chicken drumstick dual blades. So that would be kind of cool. And Rustic Kushala, I'll be honest, I don't really like fighting Kushala. Master and Kushala is a pain in the backside, but it also kind of hasn't sort of had too much attention, so it would be kind of cool to see like the rusted version come in. So 2 new variant monsters in March, which is going to be incredibly exciting. So once we find out more about that, I'll of course let you guys know. If you guys have got ideas as to what you think it could be, let me know in the comments down below. But honestly, if I had to hazard a guess, I would think it'd probably be those 2. Then if you look ahead to April, we then have a new festival. We have the Asteris Eliana Festival again, which of course means with a new festival, it will be another chance to do any of those event quests you may have missed. But more importantly, there'll also be new Arc-tempered monsters and Master Rank versions of existing monsters, which is super exciting because of course, when you think about the Arc-temper system, well, in the grand scheme of things, it might not always have been the most exciting thing. I mean, sometimes the changes were so subtle that it was basically the same monster just with a bit more health and it hit harder. However, it did of course bring in some new armor sets. Some of those armor sets were kind of, they became like meta pieces. They became pieces that people definitely wanted to get. So honestly, I mean, it would be cool to think that they may sort of overhaul the Arc-tempered system. That could be kind of cool. But more importantly, I'm kind of more just sort of focusing on what like the armor sets could be, because if they kind of, do Arc-tempered versions of some of the existing elders, then like, a gamma version of like the Namiel gear could be really cool. So the prospect of that is still pretty exciting. And then finally, if we turn our attention to May, we have the title update 4. This is a major title update, and this will be the return of a fan favorite monster. So this obviously implies that it's not going to be a brand new monster. It is going to be a returning monster. Quite what that will be, honestly, I don't know. I mentioned before that like, I think there's a good chance we may eventually get Fatalis, but honestly, I could see that being the final monster we get in the game. And that kind of depends on like how far they plan to support Iceborne. Like they've obviously got the part mentioning that June and later on there's going to be some additional stuff and there'll be new monsters. So I kind of almost feel that like whatever the final monster will be like the send-off one. So quite what that's going to be, honestly, I don't know. But either way, it'll be a returning monster. So put your ideas down below. Gormagala would be awesome. Fatalis would be awesome. Alatrion would be awesome. I mean, I know it's never going to happen. Like, yeah, Chris, is never going to happen because they've confirmed it's unfortunately not going to be there, but I would still love that. So yeah, that's going to be kind of cool. So new monsters to look forward to. Basically, in March, 2 variants. In April, some Arc-tempered monsters and some new Master Rank versions of existing monsters. And of course, in May, we have a new fan favorite monster. So plenty of new content to look forward to. Of course, over the next couple of months, things will be a little bit quieter. We of course have the festival in January and then just sort of some like interim catch-up stuff in February, but that's basically the window. So if we then turn our attention to this image, it'll give you a better idea as to how things catch up on PC. So you can see, for PC players, you also get to experience the same festival that we do on consoles in January, the exact same window. Next Friday, you too get the Grand Appreciation Festival, meaning you can get that cool, like, astral looking armor, the weird sort of space stuff, and I would assume that some of those other quests that are kind of to coincide with that, like the Red Hammer and stuff, you'll probably be able to do those too. So at least everybody gets to celebrate that festival next week. Then for PC players in February, you guys will get Rajang, which will be really cool. You'll also get the volcanic region in the Guiding Lands. You'll also be getting the Raccoon City collaborations. You'll be getting the design contest Palico and the weapons. And you'll also be getting the Holiday Joy Festival, which means you'll probably get the quest that we just had. So that's PC's chance to get like the buff body armor, the ninja scarf, the oolong set, things like that. So, you know, that's not too long to wait. You're basically getting that in a very condensed window. So that's February. Then for March, you also have Stygian Zanoga, you have safi'jiiva, and you have the Tundra region for the Guiding Lands. So basically by March, you'll be caught up. Yes, you are admittedly a little bit behind right now, but if you've just jumped on a PC, bearing in mind that it's only just released, you've basically got 3 months of packed content, which is awesome. Like, you basically go from Festival into Rajang, into Stygian Zanoga, safi'jiiva, Guiding Lands, and then in April, everything starts to sync together. Of course, if you look back, in March, for the console players, we'll be getting the 2 new variant monsters. PC will have to wait 1 more month for that one, but if you then look into April, basically PC players get those 2 variant monsters. They get the Arc-Tempered monsters, they get the new Master Rank versions of existing monsters, and they get the Astera Celiana Festival, which coincides with consoles. So then from May onwards, everybody is in the same place, which means in May, when they introduce the new fan favorite returning monster, that will be for everybody at the same time. And of course, that then applies for everything thereafter, June, July, August, however long they plan to support Iceborne till the end. So that's pretty cool. Basically, PC players, you have a jam-packed year of stuff to look forward to. Console players, we have some cool stuff to look forward to spread across the next few months. Again, as mentioned, from things like June onwards is a little bit vague, and I think partly that's either because they're still deciding what it's going to be. They may well be saving those announcements to E3, or they may just have, like, you know, other things up their sleeves. Either way, we'll have to wait and see. Finally, the last thing worth mentioning, this one is admittedly to begin with Japan only, but as you guys know, if you play World, there is the USJ armor. Every time there is a new Monster Hunter game, there's always a USJ collaboration, and then there's always a different one for like high rank and G rank. This is the Master Rank USJ collaboration. It's a kabuki themed thing, so of course everyone has these cool kimonos. The armor looks awesome. There is of course the same longsword that we've seen before. There's cool new Palico gear. There's a bow this time, and there's also a thing pointing to a pendant. So if I had to hazard a guess, I would say they'll also probably let you upgrade the longsword, which would be kind of cool because it means we can carry that with us. But this will, as is always the way, be split across 2 different events. The first one is in March. That is towards the end of March, the 20th, and that will basically let you get part of it. So if it's anything like last time, you were able to craft the Palico gear and the sword to begin with, and then the second event gave you the armor and the upgrade for the sword. So, you know, they haven't necessarily specified exactly how that'll work just yet, but that's principally how it's going to work. And then of course the second event is at the middle of May, May the 15th, and that'll let you get the second part. So basically, really cool stuff. If it's like World, we will eventually get this in the West. It won't happen at the same time as this, so we'll probably have to wait till maybe the end of this year. But similarly, like last time, you can also just go online. Sometimes you'll find players in Japan on Twitch hosting lobbies. Sometimes you can just search for it using the search features, and you can find USJ lobbies, so you can still jump in and craft this armor from the UK. It's just a little bit harder to try and actually reliably get it. But either way, USJ armor is coming back. It looks incredibly awesome. Last time it also actually had some pretty good skills, so I'm excited to get it. But either way, that's your update on the 2020 roadmap so far. So lots of things to look forward to. Top level, 2 variants coming, a fan favorite monster returning, Arc-Tempered Master Rank stuff, and PC and console syncing together. Any questions, by all means let me know in the comments down below. But of course, be sure to keep it locked, because of course, as we move into next week towards the new festival, there'll be plenty of stuff to talk about.